Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, July 15th, 2019. I apologize for the late time on this webcast. We had some technical difficulties with our 7-day forecast this morning. Looking at fire potential impacts for the next few days, we will see a drying trend continue across the region this week. We are looking at breezy winds in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range combined with low relative humidity. That's across those orange highlighted areas on the map. And then further north, we will see a mix of wet and dry lightning with those areas of coverage decreasing through midweek. Over the past 24 hours, there's really not been too much in the way of precipitation. This map on the left kind of gives the false impression that there's been quite a bit of precipitation across the area, but areas that have seen precipitation have generally seen light precipitation outside of a couple of heavier showers and thunderstorms. And on the image on the right, you can see not too much lightning reported across the area. As far as fire activity, things are continuing to ramp up across the area, and due to that, we are concerned about the gusty winds later in the week. So looking at observed precipitation over the past 7 days, the image on the left shows that observed precipitation. The image on the right shows how that compares to normal. You can see we're really far below normal as far as that precipitation over the past 7 days, so it really has been quite dry over the last week. ERCs are generally in the 50th to 70th percentile across the area. You can see a few isolated spots that are looking at those ERCs climbing into 70th to 80th percentile, but generally across the Great Basin, we're looking at ERCs that are right around normal. Our ERC charts show that pretty well. Also, you can see the two selected areas, GB3 and GB27. Those ERC traces are showing up right at or a little below normal. Our 10-hour fuel moisture is quite low across the drier and hotter parts of the Great Basin. You can see those really low values in southern Nevada. The satellite this morning shows high pressure just moving off to our east, and that is because we have a storm system making its way in from the northwest. So for today, looking at the general weather pattern there on the left, you can see the drier air across the southern part of the Great Basin and some moisture starting to move in across the north with that storm system. Looking at our significant fire potential map, we are highlighting portions of southeastern Idaho for wind today. Looking at today in a little more detail, you can see some isolated showers and thunderstorms are expected mainly across the mountains of central and eastern Utah and into central Idaho. Our wind map on the right shows those gusty winds expected across portions of eastern Idaho this afternoon. And looking at relative humidity, you can see really low relative humidities down below 15% across much of Utah, Nevada, and the Arizona Strip. As we move into Tuesday, we start to see that storm system make its way more into the Great Basin, looking at some gusty winds, probably in the 25 to 35 mile an hour range across the southern part of the area. And we are highlighting parts of southern Utah and southern Nevada and the Arizona Strip because we are concerned about those gusty winds. As far as wind speeds, you can see from the image on the right, those wind speeds are generally in that 20 to 30 mile an hour range. And as far as weather, showers and thunderstorms, very isolated on Tuesday. Looking at those relative humidities, again, you can see very low relative humidities across the south, a little higher across the north as we are expecting a cold front to move in. Moving into Wednesday, again, we have that weather system in place across the northern part of the Great Basin. We'll have a cold front draped across about northern Nevada through northern Utah, and with that cold front we will see some gusty winds continuing across the southern part of the Great Basin into Wednesday. You can see those areas highlighted in orange on our significant fire potential map. Looking at those winds in more detail, again, you can see gusty winds expected across the southern part of the area. Those will be southwesterly winds. No showers or thunderstorms expected on Wednesday. And looking at those relative humidities, again, you can see really low values across the south ahead of that cold front and a little higher up north where things will be a bit cooler. So looking at precipitation accumulation over the next 3 days, really nothing significant expected across the area. Central Idaho could see about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of precipitation. Moving into Thursday, we keep dry air in place across the southern part of the area. Again, with those weather disturbances to our north, we will see increased winds across the south, so we have another day of that high risk in place across the southern part of the Great Basin on Thursday. Moving into Friday, pretty similar weather pattern, pretty dry across the entire area. Still looking at the potential for some gusty winds moving into Friday, but we don't have that high risk out just because it's so far out in time. Things generally change a bit within that time period. So in the 4 to 5 day period, really no precipitation expected at all. It's going to be quite dry in that time period. Moving into Saturday, again, really dry across the south, drying across the north. Winds are looking like they'll lighten up a bit on Saturdays. We could see some high pressure moving in. And then Sunday, models are hinting at monsoonal moisture starting to make its way back into the area as we see high pressure currently in the forecast building into the area this weekend. So in the 6 to 7 day period, again, quite dry. You can start to see some of that monsoonal moisture hinted at across the far south, south of the United States into Mexico, and then that's a 7 day total that's expected. In the 8 to 14 day outlook, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for above normal temperatures across the majority of the Great Basin, with the potential for above normal precipitation further south. So it is looking like towards end of July, again, we will see return of that monsoonal moisture to the southern part of the Great Basin. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thank you.